and gentlemen, here we are again in the studio, Hudson County View, live and uncut. And I'm your host, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, John R. Hydus. And today we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the county's contract with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Of course, most of you know them as ICE. And this is something that we've been talking about for many weeks, probably the better part of the last month. Of course, last week we had Freeholder Anthony Romano in, and today I have sitting right next to me Hector Oseguera of the Progressive Democrats of Hudson County. And as you guys know, a restraining order came down on Tuesday. And that evening, there were still protests, and Hector was one of four that were charged with contempt for allegedly violating this order. So certainly we're going to hear more about his perspective there, why they're still fighting the ICE contract, the freeholder meeting that is going to be going on tonight, and much more. And of course, we can't forget that December 10th is now a somber day in Jersey City history. Just 1 year ago, we remember that 4 lives were tragically lost, and the one that was honored already recognized this morning was the late police detective Joseph Seals. So we're going to show you what was going on at the Bayview Cemetery. We have some video of that, some remarks from Mayor Stephen Fulop and Police Chief Michael Kelly, and we'll also talk about and reflect what happened 365 days ago. And when we come back, I'll be with Hector Oseguera. Just give us one moment as we hear a word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunley Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Hydus, and as advertised, I am sitting here with Hector Oseguera of the Progressive Democrats of Hudson County. Hector, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me on, John. As I said to you in text message, it seems like the county's point of view on this issue is getting plenty of attention and plenty of air. And we wanted somebody on our side to also have a chance to speak on why we're doing this, what's going on, and what it'll take to get us out of the streets.
Understandable. Thanks, and sounds perfectly reasonable, hence here we are. So look, obviously by luck or lack of whatever side you're looking at it from, here we are, and it's a perfect week. I mean, right, that restraining order comes down Tuesday around between 4 and 5 o'clock. You guys go out there on Tuesday night, your usual 9 or so time, and you're one of the 4 picked up by the sheriff's office.
Indeed.
I mean, look, you couldn't write it better than that, right? So just tell me, again, I know we spoke about this already, but just if you could give us a little more detail about what happened, your feelings and your experiences on Tuesday evening.
Sure. So, the first thing that I'm going to say is that there seems to be a lot of work being done to put myself and the protesters at the center of this story. This has nothing to do with us. This has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with any of the individuals who were named on that restraining order. This has to do with individuals who are detained in Hudson County unjustifiably and in horrible conditions. And so nothing that they do to us is going to stop that mission. They are making a mistake by trying to focus on us as individuals, because this is an issue that will not stop no matter who they put pressure on. So yeah, I was arrested. It's not fun. Nobody likes to be arrested. Nobody went to Tom's house to be arrested. We were there to exercise our First Amendment rights. And given that it's an open case, that's really all I can say about that as the incident itself. But what I will say is that there is somebody in Hudson County tonight who would like to get a restraining order against their abusive spouse or somebody who's stalking them, and they don't have a 10-car detail sitting outside of their home to make sure that they're safe. This shows that there are two levels of citizens in Hudson County. People who have tremendous privilege and power and who get special treatment, like the county executive, and the rest of us who have to live here on earth.
All right, well, you said a lot there, but whether you find the order to be controversial, to be questionable, or just flat out wrong, which I'm sure that's how you feel, you guys are challenging, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can announce to you that I am being represented by the ACLU, so we will be fighting this on the legal grounds.
And, you know, obviously you've got some experience in the legal field. I mean, have you ever seen an order that gives this kind of specific parameters in terms of a restraining order or any other kind of court order before?
No, right? So when you get a court order, there has to be some level of specificity, and I think the way I read the restraining order, it's essentially against any 20 random individuals on the planet Earth. The way it's read, that is illegally broad and a severe curtail of our First Amendment rights, especially given the fact that the county executive is a public official, and so it's a little harder to get protection when you hold yourself out as a public official the way that Mr. DeGise has. So what we're doing is completely legal, it's completely within our First Amendment rights, and that order I don't think will stand.
All right, very good. And I know a lot of people share that perspective. Certainly, we're waiting with bated breath to see the latest in that chapter. But now let's talk about why you guys are in front of the House.
Sure.
You know, started 1 week ago. I mean, of course, the ICE contract was extended 6/3 on November 24th. We spoke about this at length. Many outlets have covered, so on and so forth. And now it's up to the county executive, theoretically, if he wanted to rescind the contract. He's been quite clear that he doesn't want to do that.
And he's not going to unless he's pushed to.
Right. And, you know, we saw that op-ed that made its way in the Jersey Journal yesterday. He called you guys far-left extremists.
Yeah.
And we can't defund the police and so on and so forth. I won't belabor the point. You obviously read it. But look, so you guys continue to go out. I mean, there was a group there last night, right?
Yeah.
And I assume there'll be a group there tonight.
Tonight and every night after that in perpetuity.
So he said many times over, I'm not going to change my mind. So why do you still keep trying to change his mind?
So we are citizens who have exhausted every means of recourse. This was a talking point that you get out of the freeholders like Romano and the executive, is that the people who are going there are not from Hudson County. Again, it goes to this two-tiered level of some people are really from Hudson County and people like me are not really from Hudson County. I was born in Hoboken. I was raised in West New York. I'm from Hudson County. I've lived here my entire life. The people who are protesting with me are all from Hudson County. They're from North Bergen, Jersey City. They're from Hoboken. They're from all over Hudson County. And so they're trying to discredit us by painting us as a caricature. What I'll say about the op-ed by Mr. DeGise is that he's trying to paint us as far-left radicals, people who are not serious and not here to make productive change. That just shows that he has no understanding of who we are or what we want. If he really cared about the detainees, he would be reaching out to our side, sit down with us, have a conversation where we can come to a mutually agreeable decision. He wrote that op-ed where he basically paints himself as upholding the moderate centrism of Joe Biden. It was a point that has been made by the county executive and by the other freeholders. And I will say this, the HCDO hardly lifted a finger to get Joe Biden elected. It was progressive orgs like NGO 8 for Progress and the orgs that are in my orbit who are holding phone and text banks for Joe Biden 3-4 times a week. They're the people who are holding calls and text banks for the Senate candidates in Georgia all the time now. So if somebody got Joe Biden elected, it wasn't someone like the county executive who was going to vote for Joe Biden anyways. The people who got Joe Biden over the line are the progressives who maybe held their noses and said, maybe Joe Biden isn't my #1 candidate, but I'll at least vote for him because that's better than 4 years of Donald Trump. So if somebody is to take credit for Joe Biden's victory, it's the progressives, not the people like Tom DeGise and his machine voters who are going to vote for Joe Biden no matter what.
Very good, Hector. On that note, we're going to take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhide is still joined with Hector Oseguera. So, Hector, it was a good time to talk about everything that's been happening regarding the protests. But I know you wanted to speak on the heart of the issue, and of course, it's still important, the actual contract with ICE. So, look, we've heard from a number of freeholders, some on camera, some off, but we've also remembered what was said at the meeting. And in general, look, this is what we're getting, right? This is the most humane thing. This is the most convenient thing. And there's basically no other option. I mean, in a couple words, I think that's fair, right? So obviously you don't agree with any of those points.
Yeah.
So just tell me why not.
So there seem to be a couple of points that they continuously bring up. One being the conditions in the prison, and the second being, well, people will have to be transferred somewhere else, and that's undesirable to what they're doing now. Number one, on the conditions. We have testimony from people who are there and living it, who are telling us that the conditions are horrific. You ever had a job where you sort of had to, the owner was coming in, so you had to clean up and be on your P's and Q's and behave well? That's what they want, the freeholders want. They say, okay, well, we'll take a tour of the facility and everybody will be acting on their best behavior and we can say it's a beautiful facility and we can walk away. We don't care about putting sprinkles on a cage. Nicer cages is not going to make us happy. So making bad conditions marginally less bad is not going to be good enough for us. These are resources that are going to make nice cages that could be going to our schools, to our roads, to our parks. These are resources we don't want spent in this way, period. The second thing is that they're saying that people will be transferred out and that is an undesirable condition, right? Well, Hudson County Correctional is in the top 20% for transfers regardless, right? Most
in the
people,
country?
Yes, in the country. From the data that I have in front of me, people are being transferred out of there regardless. So it doesn't make sense for them to be worried about something happening that is already happening. Also, if we can talk about the conditions, is that there's an ongoing hunger strike at Bergen that's been going for 27 days. If the conditions were so great, would people be on hunger strike? They were force feeding people. ICE is an infrastructure, and we don't want to feed that infrastructure. Obviously, when you're in my position, I don't have the answers of, well, what happens now? They're the freeholders. They're supposed to come up with these solutions as to what happens next. We just want it to be a transparent process that the people who are subjected to it are okay with. They are not okay with what's happening now. That's who we should be listening to, is the people who are directly affected and are saying that these conditions are horrific and we don't want to keep living through them.
So you mentioned Bergen, and that hunger strike, of course, is very topical. It's still ongoing, as you just said. But would it be fair to say that, let's say the county executive woke up tomorrow and canceled the contract, wouldn't they, detainees, then probably go to Bergen, probably go to Essex, probably go to Union?
Great question, right? So this has been done before, is when Passaic canceled their contract, right? You know what happened to those detainees? They were sent to other facilities who didn't have the capacity for them and then ended up releasing them. So regardless of that outcome, it's a quicker path to release than what's going on now. And that's what we want. We want these people to ultimately see themselves released if they're not there for any serious reason. They make another case of how these are serious crimes and people are there for murder and blowing up half the country. But Bill O'Day was smart enough to see that most of these people have already served their time. They're there for the simple fact of being undocumented.
Right.
That is an unjustifiable reason for them to be held, and so they should be on a path towards release. This is about supply and demand. If we cut the supply from ICE, if they don't have people, places to detain people, they will have to lower the detention of people because they don't have a place to put them.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective to have, of course. Now, another thing that we've heard is just the financial incentive, right? Now, even if it's only $4 million and they're claiming it's really $8 million, whatever, let's say it's in the middle. The point is, they say, well, it's either this or we have to raise taxes across the board.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, are we represented by Democrats or Republicans? John, because these are arguments that you get from Republicans, and let me tell you something, because I hate that it comes to that, but this is what we're talking about. From the county executive's position and from the freeholder's position, this has absolutely nothing to do with detained people and the conditions that they're living in. From our perspective, that is the only thing we care about. People who are detained and the conditions under which they're being detained. The reason that they're doing this is because they have an $8 million fund. What does that go to? That goes to the salaries of COs. That goes to 3,000 employees in the county. Those are 3,000 families who have to pay their bills. 3,000 people who have brothers, sisters, mothers, daughters, who may also be employed by the county machinery, maybe we'll say. And come election time, the county executive and the freeholders have to turn back to those COs and those 3,000 families and tell them who took care of you. Who took care of you when times were rough? When those crazy radical liberals wanted to take your job, they wanted to raise your taxes, they wanted to take things from you. That's what this is about from their perspective. An $8 million fund that the county machinery has to give to COs in corrections and make sure that they feel taken care of for next election season. They don't care about the people in detention or the conditions that they're being held in. They hold this boogeyman. They tell COs, these guys are trying to take your job. They tell the people of Hudson County, these kids are trying to take your money through taxes. None of it is true. None of it is true. And the worst thing that Tom DeGeese did was have us arrested, because that gave us the ability to talk to those sheriffs of the county. And they, when they speak to us, understand why we're doing this and have developed, from what I gather, a level of respect for the position that we hold.
Hector, let me just
Sure.
hold you right there. That we got to take one more break. Just to give us a moment here.
Most women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs, such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhitis, and we're still here with Hector Oseguera. So anyway, Hector, you had some very pointed remarks there about how this budgeting process is going and how it relates to county politics and elections.
Yeah.
So would it be fair to say that at this moment in time, you guys will be running I know it's a long ways off, but next election cycle, you'll be running a full slate against the county officials?
I think it's too early to make those sorts of predictions. And I really, again, I don't want this to be about them or about us. I know that that's a very convenient way to look at this. This is about people detained in Hudson, Bergen, Essex, and Elizabeth who are held in horrible conditions, and we just don't think that this is the sort of thing that we want to be complicit in. Yes, we are very disgusted by the behavior of elected officials, and that should have consequences to it. You know, I could go into a story about the county line and why they are so comfortable spitting in the faces of their constituents. But honestly, I really want this conversation to center around the voices who are detained, who are suffering in Hudson, in Bergen, and in Essex today, tonight, and tomorrow. And I want to make sure that all these elected officials know we are your constituents. You can't paint us as far left radicals because we are the people who have been voting for you our entire lives. Now we come to see that you are wolves in sheep's clothing, and we will be coming for you. This is not going to come to an end until you are willing to sit down with us and come to a mutually agreeable position. I was arrested. I've been directly harmed by the actions of the county machinery. I'm here to extend a hand out to the freeholders, to the chair, to Tom DeGeese. Meet with us, speak to us. We are not unreasonable. We are the people who live in your community. We are your neighbors, and we want a resolution to this as well. So, you know, I think that that really sums up my feelings on the politics of this moment. And I really just want to keep the focus on the people who are suffering, not on me, not on the progressives, as they would want to call us, the radicals, whatever, or the people in power who are precipitating this harm. We should be worried about the people who are suffering.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're clear as day. I mean, your position is very, very crystal, in my book anyway. So let me ask you this. Let's rewind. I mean, obviously, you know, most people haven't been following since the vote on. But like, you know, this all really started in 2018, right?
Absolutely.
When they renewed the contract for 2 years, and there was talk of phasing out from the county executive.
Yeah.
And he just told me the other day, as I'm sure you're aware, that they were banking on that Mercer County jail deal,
Yes.
Taking 300 of their inmates, and that would lead to X revenue. He didn't provide a figure. I'm not sure what it would have been. But anyway, so that was basically his rationalization for saying, well, times change, and, you know, you got to be reactive to the COVID times and so on and so forth. So could you just walk us through, you know, what your guys' thoughts were back in 2018, your expectations, and also your efforts to try to get in contact with the county leaders versus where we're at today?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, in Hudson County, our elected officials are not terribly responsive. Since 2018, people thought that we were on a path to getting rid of the contract. There were certain indications that that would probably not be the case. Joel Torres being kicked off the line was probably one of the quicker indications that things were moving in a different direction. People within the machinery were signaling to people on our side that the contract was coming up and that it was going to be renewed. And so we were able to mobilize people for it. There's always been that excuse, and we knew it would be used, that if a Democrat won the election, that detention would become okay all of a sudden, right? But the county executives obviously don't have a long memory, because Barack Obama was the deporter-in-chief before Donald Trump was, actually deported more people than Donald Trump ever did. And
Yeah,
so
true.
we don't want cages with a red R or a blue D on it. We don't care. We don't want the cages to begin with. And so, yeah, going back to 2018, I thought that, and many of us had hoped that we would be on a path to getting rid of the contract, but knowing the revenue that this generates for the machinery, and knowing that patronage is a huge part of how people stay in power in Hudson County, we sort of understood that this would not be an easy fight, and we did not have rose-colored glasses about how hard or easy this would be for any of us.
All right, and finally, Hector, just any closing thoughts on this?
Yeah, please show up for the people who are detained in Hudson, Bergen, Essex, and Elizabeth. They need your help. They need your support. Please get in touch with the county executive. Please get in touch with the freeholders. There will be a freeholder meeting tonight. Please chime in with your feelings about how this is going. The detainees really need your help. They need your voices. And if you think that Hudson County should not be complicit in the detention of undocumented immigrants, please speak out. Please reach out to the county executive and help us get this ICE contract canceled.
Thank you, Hector. It was a pleasure. Thank you, ladies and
Always.
gentlemen. We're not quite done. I'm going to take one more break, and I'll see you shortly.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, located right off of NJ 440 North. Across the Hudson Mall is your one-stop for all your automotive needs. Check out Ford's latest models like the 2020 Ford Fusion with its stylish looks and hybrid options, or the unparalleled high-performance 2020 Ford Mustang. The 2020 Ford F-150 Raptor is ready for those rugged off-road terrains with trail control. Need a mid-sized truck for your towing and hauling? The 2020 Ford Ranger will deliver. The 2020 Ford Escape is a luxury SUV that was made for comfort and adventure on the go. Returning is Ford's legendary Bronco, which takes you back to the true meaning of off-roading. They are now available for pre-order in our showroom or on our website. Let us help you find your next vehicle. Stevens Jersey City Ford, 201-432-7272.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John Arhitis. So like I said, obviously, as you all know, December 10th is a somber day here in Jersey City. We want to remember those 4 innocent lives that were lost, which includes, of course, the late police detective Joseph Seals, and there was a commemoration, a remembrance this morning. But we also don't want to forget about Lee Minda Ferenz, Miguel Douglas, and Moshe Douche, those people that were unfortunately gunned down in that kosher deli in Greenville during this hours-long shootout, which was later deemed an anti-Semitic domestic terrorist incident by the New Jersey Attorney General's office. Now, we know that the FBI investigated this as well after the local authorities, of course, had a preliminary investigation. And I could say a whole lot more, but I think you guys remember it just like I do, like it was yesterday. So we're going to go to our elected leaders, Mayor Fulop, the elected leader being Mayor Fulop, and of course, Police Chief Michael Kelly. And with that, I just want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you all have a happy and healthy holiday season.
All units, stay alert, stay alive. That is all.
Today serves as a reminder of the sacrifices and commitment that law enforcement make every single day because they choose to and volunteer for a profession to keep everybody else safe. Joseph Seals serves as an example for that, maybe one of the best examples. He chose to meet an informant here in the cemetery by himself. He chose to because he thought it would be beneficial for getting more information and helping the broader community. He chose to walk over to a vehicle that he recognized that could have been involved in something else throughout the city, and he chose to put himself in harm's way because he thought that that would be something that keeps other people safe here in the city.
If you walk into my office, you won't see rock stars on the wall, you won't see athletes, you'll see cop stars. You'll see cop stars that gave the ultimate sacrifice for the Jersey City Police Department and the citizens of the city. And maybe that's why it went so fast. Because no matter what angle that you stand in my office, you see cop stars. It motivates me every day. Every single day. And Joe Seals was no different. And everybody mentions Joe as being elite and working for an elite squad. Let me say this to you. In 2017, I had the honor of putting Joe Seals' name on a detective list because he was elite then. He was an elite cop. He was an elite radio car cop. He was an elite street cop. He wasn't elite because he got to an elite unit in ceasefire.